Hey everybody, thanks for coming out for the Millennium Method. And as I've told those who are here live, Paul Counts is going to be a little bit late, but I appreciate him letting me come in front of you today and share some things that I believe are going to be super helpful to your business, help you really rock and roll and get some things locked in, maybe that you've not had locked in before. And so I'm going to, basically run straight through it. I'm pretty much a human locomotive, and that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to worry about all of the intro stuff. I might hit some of my story later, and I'm going to infuse it in some of my business story. And so you'll get that then, but I'm not starting out with the whole who am I? Why should you listen to me mess that you usually hear. We live in a time that's pretty uncertain. The economy's been pretty wild. It's up and down. And so as entrepreneurs, it's really up to us to create the stability for our own lives, for our own businesses, and for our families. And I still believe that that's possible. I still believe that starting a business is the right thing to do. Now, a lot of people will say things like, there's never been a better time. Well, that's kind of always true if we're willing to work, if we're willing to focus and do the right things. I think about my buddy Zig Ziglar. I've gotten to share the stage with him several times. I'm actually doing some work with the Ziglar Corporation right now. I've got a call with Tom next week, and I'm going out there to shoot one of their success webcasts at the end of the month. And Ziglar's famous for saying you can have anything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And that's the essence of business. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of foundational principles today and giving you a process that I really believe anyone can do, not simply a process that is hypothetical. It doesn't require a ton of work, though it does require work. And I think one of the big problems is that we're trying to do everybody else's formula and everybody else's success strategy. And what I'm going to do instead is show you ways to align your business to you instead of always copying other people. Here's a question that I get a lot. In fact, anybody who's been successful gets this. If you had to start from scratch today, what would you do? If you started all over from scratch today? Well, here's exactly what I would do. So if you're taking notes, go ahead and write this stuff down. First of all, I would focus on one method of online business. One method. And this would end the jumping from one plan to another to another. I guarantee you everybody who's on the webinar right now has bought multiple systems, because everybody does that. I've even done that. Buying multiple systems, going from one item to the next, following one plan after another, and most of the time not seeing it through to completion. So the first thing that I would do is focus on one method of online business. That's key. Secondly, I would educate myself to the core with that one method. Here's a fact. Every business skill and need can be learned. You can learn it. In fact, when it comes to running an online business, I think you guys know well by now, because almost everybody raised their hand and said, look, I've been doing this more than 6 months. The truth is, you need to be able to set up a website. I know a lot of people say you don't even have to have a website. And you can certainly try to operate a business that way, but what are you going to do if you ever decide to sell it? So you got to have a website, I believe. I also believe that you got to have a list and you got to have something to sell. But other than that, that's just about it. If you can use WordPress, if you can use ClickBank, if you can use an autoresponder, you can build a long-term stable business. But the key is whatever method, I'm going to give you 4 methods today, but whatever method you decide, you've got to educate yourself in that one method. You've got to ignore everything else on the planet and you've got to zone in. People say, well, Paul, I don't want to miss an opportunity. I don't want to miss, some money-making deal that's out there. Listen, by the time it's revealed, it's gone. By the time somebody is selling you that system, it's because they've drained that system. Instead, you've got to do what works over and over again, regardless of the economy and regardless of what's going on. Now, third, I would work the method like a fiend. Nothing else would exist. So I'd select one method. I would educate myself to the core. And I would work that method like crazy. Nothing else exists. That means I don't buy other products, or if I do, they match exactly what I need to be educated in, or exactly the area that I need to grow in. So these 3 steps eliminate the typical external traps of online business, which are overwhelm and overload. Let me see if I can get this to work real quick. Raise your hand if you felt overwhelmed before or overload before. Raise your hand if you felt overwhelmed or overload before. All right, just about everybody's hands going up. Listen, this is where we are. This is where we live. Even as entrepreneurs, this is part of what we have to deal with. And that is the overwhelm and the overload that comes with doing online business. So, that's a huge, huge aspect to be able to follow the 3 steps that I just gave you and eliminate that. Now, after that, it also eliminates the typical internal traps, which are I'm confused about what to do. I'm constantly tweaking. I'm going to wait till it's perfect. And 3, busy work. I talk to online entrepreneurs all the time who say they're busy, who say there's not enough time in the day. But when I ask them what they're doing to profitably grow their business, it's rare that they're doing anything that's really important. They're writing one more blog post as if the 50 they've already got are not enough. They're constantly tweaking their product as if their product is not already good enough. They're searching for and this one drives me nuts, they are searching for the perfect profitable niche when almost every niche is profitable. It's a matter of getting targeted traffic and getting offers in front of people. It's really not much more than that. So why do we get confused? Why do we get overwhelmed? Because the vast majority of products being hit today are not to keep us on the straight and narrow or to keep us focused or to help us succeed. Well, for the most part, they are created, not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but they are created to make us more confused and more overwhelmed and even more trapped, or else there'd be like all of these massive success stories out there that are constant. So I'm going to give you a process that takes very little time, very little skill to execute, and is extremely reliable and stable. That's exactly the opposite of what most systems on the market produce. Most require a huge amount of skill, an incredible amount of time, and even worse, precise timing. And that's one thing I think we've got to totally eliminate. If we've got to hit the market at the right time in order to be successful, then we're never going to be successful long term. Now, here's what's crazy is that most marketers never sell you the system that they actually use. Instead, they sell some sexy trick that seduces the public by hijacking the want to believe gland. And what I'm going to show you is exactly what I would do if I was starting from scratch today. Now, here's the big reveal. Guess what? It's exactly what I'm doing in my business right now. I'm not sharing anything today that's hypothetical, anything that I'm just making up, anything that I think could work. I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm doing in my business. I've always thought it was weird when you ask a lot of these successful online people, what would they do if they were starting over today? And their answer isn't what they're doing. And I mean, that's dumb. It's crazy to ask somebody, if you were to start over, what would you do? And they give you an opposite answer of what they're doing. That makes zero sense. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing and exactly how you can do it too. And I don't mean by that it's all like this setup. Literally, you can take the steps that I'm going to give you and you can work out every single one of these yourself. Now then, you're probably thinking, well, Paul, is there a pitch at the end? Absolutely, there's a pitch. And that is if you want me to help you go through these steps personally. But you don't have to have that. You can literally go through the steps I'm going to show you all on your own. So make sure that you're writing everything down and be ready to work and figure some stuff out for yourself. So I've already asked this, really, how long have you been trying and how long have you been struggling? On average, when I'm talking to online entrepreneurs, most people have been at work at this at a year or more. Usually on average, it's about 2 years. But I've had people on webinars before that have said 5 years. I've been trying to do this for 5 years. So they're in the Q&A box. If you would, write down, how long. We got George says since 1999. Write in there how long you've been trying to be successful online. You may be successful online. How long have you been trying though? Let's say that you've not been successful. How long have you been trying to be successful online? Use the little Q&A box there and just type in your answer and then just hit the button to submit it. All right, got 3 years. Got another one, 3 years. Another one that says 1 year. Another that says 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 9 months, 2 years and made about $4,000. That's really, I'm telling you, you may not even feel great for 2 years and making $4,000. That is so far ahead of the average. We've got 1 year. All right, so we've got a lot of time that's put in, right? And listen, again, I want to be really clear about this. We've all been in that boat. You're not in a unique situation. Did you hear all of those numbers? So I don't want you to think for a minute, and I run across this all the time, people who are like, you know what, I'm the only one that seems to be really struggling. It seems like everybody else is making it. Because what happens when you get on a lot of these web pages, it makes it sound like that nobody's struggling and that everybody's making money. So the Millennium Method is not hypothetical. It's not a what if, but it's a proven in play process that I use every single day. But first, to really let you see my story, this is how I got started, the success that I found. Then I got seduced. I'm not about to tell you this story that, hey man, I got started online, everything took off, and I never had a problem. I've been a success from day one. Listen, I got seduced. I got sucked in and I got sidetracked big time. So this is how I got started. Paul B. Evans. I was and still am, a communicator, a professional speaker. So I was traveled the world speaking, and people would come up and say, hey, Paul, would you teach me how to speak? Will you do coaching? Well, I didn't want to do coaching at that time, and I didn't want to do anything where I had to mail things and go to the post office. So I decided just to do something digital. So I wrote Instant Speaking Success over just a couple of days, put all of my communication thoughts into a book, and I put this online to sell. And guess what? It did really well. My very first venture, I went out and rented a list for $2,500 of public speakers from somebody who was well known. So he sent my ad out to his list. He didn't get a commission or anything. I paid him $2,500. And guess what? The day that it went out, my domain name expired. It expired. And this was back when like domain names were like $70 a year. And so this ad went out and nobody got it. They went to my site and it said domain expired. So I fortunately was able to rescue my domain, emailed the guy back, said, I'm so embarrassed, went to an expired domain. And what will you give me a discount to rent your list again? And graciously, he said, hey, it's no problem. I'll mail it again for free. And I ended up making my money back, and my business was off the ground, and I was doing really well. And then I also started this site. It's the Youth Ministry Zone. It's at teenlifeministries.com. My background is in ministry. I've spent a lot of time in the actual trenches. I did 12 years of youth ministry full time. Myself and business partner decided to open this site. And again, we went for traffic, went for online traffic, and it took off, started doing, fairly well. It wasn't just outrageous, but I was doing pretty good. So I had my youth ministry site and I had my public speaking site. And then I got seduced. I started thinking, well, good night. If everybody else is making all this money and I'm hearing all these stories of these fortunes, then I need to tap into that too. So I started seeing the screenshots like this, $2,000 days, $1,500 days, free webinar event starting now, how you can make $1,820 to $2,543 a day. Man, it's magic. Discover the secret. This reformed gaming addict used to generate $12,614 a month. Best of all, listen to this. System requires zero setup cost, no prior technical knowledge. I'll teach you along the way. Watch the video. See how he builds a fresh site and steers it from 0 to 5 figures in 29 days while on vacation, armed with nothing but a laptop and internet. Man, I got sucked into that because, I figured, well, good night. I've got a little bit of experience. I ought to be able to do this. Listen to this. There's nothing to figure out. You won't need fancy design skills. Heck, even a 70-year-old grandma could get started right away. It's that simple. Man, in my neck of the woods, I don't know if you guys have even picked up that I've got an accent or not. In my neck of the woods, it'd be basically like, man, yesterday morning, went out hog killing, came back, piece of tinfoil laying on the ground. Decided to wrap that around the bumper of my truck. Suddenly, I got the internets on my radio. Next thing I knew, woke up the next morning, went down to the holler, dug up my treasure chest. It was filled up with money because of the internets. Man, I didn't even have no schooling. I got no shoes, and as you can tell, I ain't got no teeth. But now I'm going to have all of it because of the internets. I mean, that's the way this stuff is framed, right? I mean, they take advantage of that want to make it gland and make it sound like the dumber you are, the more of an idiot you are, the better chance you've got of making it. But I think we've all figured out, that stuff doesn't work. It's just not true. So you got all these numbers that come up that are just lauding, this is it. You can make it. All this traffic allowed me to build this huge list, 431,000. You're going, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, if I just had that. This is one of my favorites. You can make a bunch of money. No product, no traffic, no website, no database, no outsourcers, no pay-per-click, no service, no selling, no SEO, no Facebook, no affiliate, no skills. I mean, basically, no brain. You don't need anything. I mean, how crazy is this? Free webinar reveals an easy 6-figure business model you can run from home even if you have 0 skills. Wow. So I was saying to myself, heck, I know how to do this. I'm doing it. I'm smart enough to do this. And what if I started with this? If what I started with is working, what'll happen if I apply all this cool new stuff? What's going to happen then? Well, here's what happened. I ended up lost. I mean, I got disillusioned. I created a home office cubicle. I was working out of my home by now, but I was locked up. I was chasing all these phantoms. I ended up discouraged. I ended up disappointed. I was spending money like crazy, tens of thousands of dollars. So I backed up and said, it's time for a review. I'm going to see, what I've invested in. And I want to see what's going on with my business. And I realized this, I'm not the only one that's been down this path. So I wanted to figure out why so many people fail, why I failed when trying to follow all these systems. So I broke out my past purchases. Some of these you may even recognize. 7-figure code. Look at, and that's just the one you can read. Look at all these other things that I've got here. Just stacks of stuff. Boatloads of stuff. Boxes of stuff. All kinds of things that I ordered, right? Jeff Walker's product launch formula. And that's a good product. It's a great product, but I was just buying stuff. And none of that includes the digital purchases that I got. So why do we fail? Why does this stuff not work? Let's look at some of the things that were released in the past couple of years. List Control 2K, Video Boss 2K, Experts Academy 2K, Perpetual Traffic Formula 2K, Product Launch Formula 2K, Guru Blueprint 2K, Outsource Force 2K, Affiliate.com 2K, Marketing Millions 2K, 25K. I mean, I forgot about that one. 25K. And the deal is you could have bought all of that with upsells, spent $41,000 and not have a business. Actually, I had a client that I basically had to help rescue because he had spent over $100,000 and did not have a business. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? But it's absolutely possible. So how is it possible? Here's like the big secret. So when you buy a product that a lot of I hate to use the word gurus, but basically, for lack of a better word, that they sell, you're buying a piece of the pie. A piece. You're not buying a whole pie. You're buying a piece of the pie. Now, here's the crazy thing. You're not even buying pieces to the same pie. You're buying pieces to multiple pies. And that's why we couldn't be successful. That's why I couldn't be successful with all this new stuff. Because I was buying pieces to different pies instead of sticking to one model, educating myself in that model, and working that model like a fiend. I was just out there buying different slices of pie. Now, it tastes good. I liked it. I was fat and unhappy because I was getting close to broke. But my system, what I was doing before, happened to be stable, even while I was out experimenting, because it was actually complete. You remember my public speaking system that I mentioned? And also, I mentioned my Teen Life Ministries. That is what remained stable. That's what ended up working. So, totally different when you look at that. So, when we're thinking about that, we're thinking about how to really get ahead and how to really make it. It's by doing something that's going to be stable, not simply doing whatever somebody else says that we need to be doing. So my single site was bringing in $15,000 a month while I was out messing around with the hope and hype crowd. When I'd started all my messing around, it was making about $5,000 a month. And during my time, about 2 years, it grew to 15,000 a month while I was out messing around. I kind of had it on autopilot, and I was spending about 30 minutes a week on it. But see, you'd think that I would keep up with that, right? You're thinking, well, Paul, how'd you even miss that? Because I was out here messing around. I was out following the dream. I was out believing the hype. And my business was still growing in spite of me because it was bound up in principles. So let's create a complete business for you. I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to start a business right now. Now, here are my prerequisites. I believe that you got to make your own list, but this is my list, my personal list. It's got to be valuable, meaning that the marketplace has to want it and it serves a valuable purpose. That when they buy, they're glad they bought. Secondly, it's got to be fun. I've got to enjoy doing it. Listen, people all the time say, just show me a profitable niche, Paul, because, I'll do it. I'll work hard. That's not true. People have jobs they hate. Why do they quit? Because they're not fun. Listen, don't think just because you're online or you're working your own business that's going to automatically make it fun. It's hard. It's tough. But it can be fun when you've chosen that market and that niche that you love, that you enjoy, that you're interested in. Number 3 is stable. I've got to do something that's going to work today, tomorrow, next month, 6 months from now, the end of the year, the next year, the next year, the next year, till I'm done. I want it to be stable. I don't want to go down the latest craze path. I don't want to try to game the market. I don't want to try to sneak in the back door. I don't want anything that is short term where I can grab a buck. I want to know that my family is going to be fed day after day after day. And I want to know that orphans that I'm supporting around the world, I want to know that they get fed every single day. Hey guys, let me take just a quick time out. I've got a friend who's having a meeting here at 11:30, having some challenges with their child, and I just want to text them some encouragement just real quick. So if you're listening to the replay and it's silent, it's supposed to be. All right. Stuff like that. I mean, that's the reason we're doing this, so we can be available. We can be available for our family, for our friends, to be there to support them. Listen, those of us who have kids, and I've got a 19-year-old and I have a 16-year-old, when our kids face issues, face challenges and trouble, it just breaks our heart, doesn't it? So we want to be available. That's a big reason I do this. Let me give you a quick sidebar. Some of you already know this. Probably the majority don't. When I was 23 years old, my first wife passed away in my arms. My son, who's now 19, was 5 weeks old at the time. That's where this prerequisite list came from, because I said I was going to be available. I wanted a stable business that's long-term so that I could be at every one of my kids' games if they wanted me there, or field trips. I was often the only dad on the field trip, because I wanted to create a long-term stable business so that I could be there for my family. All right. So number 4 is long-term. I want it to last, and I want it to be something that I'm interested in. Number 5, for the long term. When I look at my bookshelf, I've got books on leadership, on management, on my faith, on communication, on marketing, on fitness, because those are areas of my life that I'm going to be involved in long term. I'm interested in, I'm spending money in currently. Why in the world would you go into a market that you're not even interested in? I know people tell you can do that, and if it works for you, that's fine. But for 92% of us, we're not able to make money for money alone. There's 8% that can do that. But 92% of us are driven by more than income alone. So we've got to be interested in it so that we're passionate, so that we're connected with it, and so we can do it long term. Let me ask you this. How many boring things have you ever done long term? How many boring things have ever been stable in your life? How many boring things have ever been fun to you? How many boring things have ever seemed valuable to you? All right, you better be involved in a business that's interesting to you. And then you'll also make it interesting to your market. Number 6, it's got to be profitable. Yeah, this is down the list a little bit, but the truth is you can't just do the profitable measurement and exclude those first 5. Sure, you might make some money, but you're not going to make the money that you could really make if you've got those others in place. And then number 7, free time. Like I just mentioned, I'm able to do a lot of cool stuff with my kids, with my family. I'm able to travel the world and do some things that serve orphans worldwide. Some of you know that I'm involved in 100X missions, and we come alongside existing mission works and help them develop their construction aspects of their orphanages. And we love being able to do that. Right now, 2 days a week, I do some pro bono consulting work for a nonprofit. That way they don't have to pay me multiple 6 figures, which is what my fee would be. But instead, I've got enough income to be able to donate that time. So those are my prerequisites. Those are 7 of mine. I don't know if yours need to be identical. You're welcome to steal that list, or there may be some other things you want to add to it. But this is what's important. You can't simply write down the list and say, that's my list. You've got to think through it. You've got to process through it. You've got to decide if that list is also going to be your list. Will that really work for you? Will that really connect with you? Hey, I see that Paul Counts made it in. Hey, Paul, I just turned your mic on. Hey, yep. I hear you. You in the car or you at home, brother?
I'm at home now. Yep. I'm back home.
Cool.
Just had to get my daughter to school. So
yeah, I knew that. You want me to just keep rolling? You got any comments?
Yep. Oh, no, keep going. It's
all right,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
cool,
it's
brother.
great. Yep.
All right, man.
Awesome.
I'll be back.
All right, cool.
All right, good old Paul Counts. With a name like Paul, you can't go wrong. Here's Warren Buffett. Back at the end of the 90s, when the .com was really hitting big, and he ignored it. Doesn't even use a computer. He's still working like from a notebook. And everybody's like, man, this old codger, he's lost his mind. He doesn't know where it's at. And he said, I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm going to stick with what's long-term, what's stable. Everybody laughed at him. 2 years later, the .com bomb, and it blew up and everybody lost their fortunes. That's why he's got kind of that sly grin, because he did what he knew to do instead of chasing the phantom. Your prerequisites become your filter for any system you choose to follow. So like those 7 things, if somebody comes out with a new system, even to this day, if I'm kind of drawn to it, what do? I'll pull out my 7 and say, does it match? Does that really look like fun? Is that going to be valuable? Is that going to give me free time? Does it look profitable? Am I interested? Is it stable? I'll look at that list and it becomes a filter for that. So here is the Millennium Method. 1,000 dedicated people, and I'm going to actually define that here in a second. 1,000 dedicated people who will spend $100 a year with you. And you're at 6 figures. If you've got 1,000 dedicated people, that's not a ton, is it? I'm not saying you got to build a 100,000 person list. 1,000 dedicated people who will spend $100 a year with you. That's the Millennium Method at its core. That's its base. So how do we, get there? We got to think about imagining having 1,000 sales of $100 in January and being done for the year. This has always been one of the things that I focus on. Have 1,000 people spend $100 in January, and if I wanted to quit for the year, I could. Deliver a static $100 product in January, boom, done. How cool is that? How much fun is that? Next year, January, you spent all year just kind of collecting names, putting out some good content, building trust, leadership. January hits, boom, release, finished for the year. Hey, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. You may not be attracted to that. You may want to work hard all year long, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not disparaging work at all. We've got to work to get there. But imagine that. I wouldn't be too negative. I wouldn't be against that. Actually, I'm actually not against that because it's what I do. So the key word is dedicated. Desperate. This is what we're always taught. Go out and find a desperate market. Desperate markets are fine for one-time impulse purchases. Desperate markets are not the best for long-term stability and predictable income. Sorry, I know we've been taught that, but it's not the best for long-term dependable income. Now, it's great for short-term income. That desperate crowd, that hungry crowd, it's great for short-term impulse sales. But those aren't the people that stay around and can feed your family predictably. Determined. This is the second level. So there's desperate and there's determined. These are the people who maybe were desperate one time, but they've finally made up their mind. This is the person who just says, I'm losing the weight this time. I'm going to do it. I've got my mind made up. I'm going to get after it. All right. So they're determined. This to me is a better market because they're more focused and they're more serious. But here's my favorite market, and that is the dedicated. So here we got a picture of the Iron Man. Nobody gets up on Iron Man morning, shows up there at the tent and says, hey guys, I hadn't done any swimming since I was a kid. Not really into running, hate biking. But you know what? I had a free day. Nothing going on. Thought I'd come out here to the Iron Man. Thought I'd jump in, swim me about 2. Thought I'd ride me over 100. Thought I'd just go out and jog 26.2. Just had nothing else going on. That doesn't work. Why? Because the people who are in this event, they are dedicated. They are athletes. And when you build your business around the dedicated, guess what? They don't leave. They don't vanish. They are there day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out. And it makes your income predictable because you've gone after the crowd that doesn't leave. The desperate, they leave. The determined, they'll stay with you for a little while, but they give up and quit too. But the dedicated, long term. So here's the problem. One size does not fit all. This is where you got to start thinking, because I could give you a formula and say, this is the way I did it. And you would go out and try to do that formula, but it wouldn't work. Why wouldn't it work? Because we're not wired the same. We don't process the same. We don't have the same experiences. We don't have the same interests. We don't have the same energy level. We don't have the same skill set. So I can't give you my exact step-by-step. I'm going to give you my exact principle-based system that you can take and create your very own perfect business. Instead of getting this business from somebody that says, hey, just follow my steps. That sounds good. Nope. It needs to be aligned to you. I don't do business just like Paul Counts. Paul Counts doesn't do business just like me. Why? Because we're different. And we've even got some overlapping markets, but we don't work those the same. So who's right? We both are. We're both right because we've built businesses built based on our strengths, on our value set, on our factors of what free time means to us or what stability or what interests us. And that's the real secret. You choose a model that fits you. So overall, this first section we're talking about is model. So write down model. I'm going to give you 4. This is what I call the core 4. The teacher, the coach, the reporter, the hermit. The core 4. Teacher, coach, reporter, and hermit. So here's the teacher. It's about education, providing answers, information, equipping, training, classes, instruction. Now you may create the products or you may use affiliate products. But either way, your main goal is to teach and instruct your market segment. So think about that. Does that connect with you? Do you like teaching? If so, this may be your model. This may be the best business model for you. See, let's say that at your core, you're a teacher, and I am. At my core, I'm a teacher. But somebody tells me over here, I can follow this autopilot system that requires no brain. And if I'll build out 5,000 sites, I can become rich. Even if that works, listen, even if that works, it probably won't work for me because I'm so disconnected to my core driver. So maybe you're a teacher. Secondly, maybe you're a coach. Nick Saban. Sorry, I'm an Alabama fan. Training, direction, answers, help, advice, encouragement. So this can be high-end recurring products, and it can actually be affiliate products as well. But for the most part, it's going to be high-end recurring. People are going to access your smarts and your advice. You're coaching them. You're consulting them. You're giving them direction. So when it comes to this coaching model, and it's going to depend on your market is going to be able to set the price for this. So let me give you some examples. In the offline world, outside of this internet world, I'm still a business owner. At one time, I owned 6 offline business simultaneously. Now, at the same time that I owned these businesses, one was a mergers acquisitions company, I had a restaurant, I had a mortgage company, etc. So these were real businesses. At the same time, I had a consultancy business, a communication business. Several of my clients paid me 6-figure retainers. 6 figures just to be able to call me once or twice a month. So see, that's high-end recurring. Now let me look at internet marketing or online business. Am I able to charge that with the average person in internet marketing or online business? No, I'm not able to. So locally, when somebody wants to start an online business, I charge them $5,000. That's locally. But online, it's a different world. So that if somebody wants coaching from me month in and month out, it's like $1,000. That's a long way from 6 figures, right? But that's what the market bears. But I still enjoy it because I love coaching people. Love it. Every morning I get up, and after I've done my quiet time, the first emails I check are from my coaching clients. First thing I do is answer those questions, and I so look forward to it because I love providing help and advice and encouragement. Do you? Do you like that? If so, maybe you're a coach. So you make sure you circle that one. Third is the reporter. You talk about news, you give reviews, you talk about what's coming, communicate about the social scene in your market, you share facts and recommendations. So this is highly relational marketing, and it focuses primarily on affiliate products. You never have to create your own product. You're just recommending the products of others. So you are a reporter. It is a fantastic model because you can have other people write content for you. You can do interviews. You're simply representing the market. You get to know people. Your crowd gets to know you. Now think about having 1,000 dedicated people in the reporter model, and once a year, you only recommend one product a year, and it may be one of these $2,000 products, and you get $1,000 commission off of it. And you sell 100. And chances are really high if you've got 1,000 people who are dedicated to you, chances are pretty high you'd sell 100 of those. It's pretty wild. See, all the numbers are skewed when you deal with the dedicated. If you deal with the desperate, if you had 1,000 desperate people, how many of those do you think you might sell? It depends totally on how long they've been on your list. And if they've been on your list more than 6 weeks, probably none. But the dedicated, totally different. So as a reporter, you just report on what's going on. You share things, you post reviews. It's a ton of fun. And especially if you don't feel like you're a teacher or a coach where you're going to be creating products. Then there's the hermit. Now, this is the model that almost 70% say they are, but it's really not true. The reason it's not true is because they're kind of burnt out on their job, or they're burnt out in dealing with people, and so they kind of just want to break away from it. But with the hermit, you got no customers, no products, no affiliates. You do affiliate marketing, but it's autopilot. Now, this was really popular back in the AdSense days when everybody was going crazy building sites. And this is niche marketing at its best. And does it still work? It still works. But what I've found is that for every person out there that you see that says, I've got this one site that I don't touch that makes me 6 figures a year, there are another 10,000 people who have 200 or 300 sites and they're barely breaking even. So I don't want you to think hermit and think suddenly, good, I don't want to deal with people and that's going to be the perfect out for me. This is me personally. It's probably because of my wiring. To me, this is the hardest model there is because it's a lot of grunt work. There's no connection really with other human beings. And you really have to build out, really, to really be successful, in most cases, you have to build hundreds of sites. Hundreds. And the last time I talked to anybody who was doing this model, around site 20, they're ready to quit. And you've really got to be in mass production mode to be the hermit. But if you love that and that gears you up and you're excited about buying domains and building sites out, man, go for it if that's really your model. So which of those four really connect with you the most? The teacher, the coach, the reporter, the hermit. You need to select one of those before we get to step 2. I'm a teacher and coach. It's what I love doing the most. And I've obviously got very lucrative businesses doing that. But you got to choose the one that favors you the most. All right. Secondly, the market. So I'm going to give you some questions that you've got to answer. Write all of these down. Purpose. Where can I improve people? This is how you choose your market. And if you've already got your market selected, then you need to make sure it matches these questions. Purpose. Where can I improve people? What am I able to do to help other people become better? So if I'm a teacher, what am I going to teach? If I'm a coach, how am I going to advise? If I'm a reporter, how can I improve people through my content? If I'm a hermit, how can I create sites that are valuable even if I'm not going to be connected to my people? Passion. What could I do forever? Obviously, I'm not a short-termer. What could I do forever? What market would I love to serve forever? What content do I not get tired of providing? What do I look forward to learning and sharing? So with my youth ministry site, I'm still doing that and started it over a decade ago. Public speaking site over a decade ago. I'm still doing it. Why? Because I love it. I'm passionate about those markets. In fact, with my public speaking site, it says, say it with passion or just leave me a note. We're going to hit that in just a few minutes. Proficiency. What am I good at? It's not time for false humility. Paul, I'm not good at anything. Everything I do is average. Listen, where you think you're average is somebody else's excellence. They look at you and go, man, you rock. So let's say out of 10 levels, you're level 5. Forget levels 6 through 10. Focus on levels 1 through 4. They need you. There are always more beginners than there are experts. Serve them. What am I good at? Make your list. Profitability. What are people buying? Where are they spending money? When I started my youth ministry, I went out to look at it, and guess what I found? I found out that people were, my public speaking, I found out that people were spending $10 for public speaking books. Sometimes they were spending $50. Sometimes they're spending $97 for a digital download. Then I found out they were going to seminars and spending $500, $1,000, $5,000. Then I found out that people are hosting one-day personal retreats, and I know a guy that charges $36,000 for 2 days with him. You think that's a profitable niche? Yes. Yes, it's profitable. So you go out and you research and you find out what people are currently spending. And it shows the wide gamut of profitability. But you don't just sit on this one. You ask those other questions as well. So I've got the platinumpresenter.com, and that's part of my public speaking. And then I've got the Youth Ministry Zone that I introduced to you earlier. I've also got Nicheology, online business for honest people. Love that. That's my internet marketing niche that I work in and train in. Next is your message. So you've got your model, should have selected that. Secondly, you've got your market. I gave you 4 questions and 4 P's to help you select that. And now your message. Your message is how you represent yourself to your market. You basically say, listen up. You want one clear, concise, connective message shared in your voice so that people connect with it. And they go, this is the place for me. This is exactly where I belong. So you saw with Nicheology, it said online business for honest people. What's that automatically imply? That there's a lot of dishonesty out there. And don't you think there is? Yes, there's a ton of dishonesty out there. So people are looking to see if you're right for them. If you're confusing, they leave. And I've experienced that. I've made my sites way too confusing. And they leave. So the more concise I got, the more clear I got, the more they stayed, the more they bought. So Platinum Presenter, speak with passion or just leave me a note. That's my core message. Notice my core giveaway here. Engage how to avoid becoming a human tranquilizer. What's that do? It's right there with my core message. Speak with passion or just leave me a note. So I'm saying my free giveaway, how to avoid becoming a human tranquilizer. It's totally in line with my core message. But how many times do we have some little sweet slogan under our logo and they get to our giveaway and it's a total disconnect? It doesn't even seem like we're talking about the same thing. And it's not like they're even on the same site. Come on, we got to be clear. We got to create that message that resonates, that connects with our market so they can raise their hand and say, this is for me. This is exactly where I belong. This is exactly who I need to hang out with. This is exactly where I need to spend my money. That's what your message does. So that's step 3. Step 1 is your model. Step 2 is your market. Step 3 is creating your core message. And I have people all the time mess their message up, totally blow it. They'll say something like, I work with fitness people who want to get more fit as they age in life and become healthier and healthier. I don't even know what that is. That's not even a good mission statement. That's a tranquilizer statement right there. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. And people will send me stuff and say, hey, Paul, what do you think about this message? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. That's not a clear message. It's a confusing message. How about I'm going to rock your world and rock your body at the same time, regardless of your age? Now, boom. What's that? I don't know. It's filled with energy. It's filled with passion. It's filled with electricity. Regardless of age means that I'm going to run the gamut. Or I could have said, for those 40 and above, I'm going to rock your world and rock your body. And then in parentheses, but only if you're 40 and above. So there's all kinds of implications in there, right? But if I'm 40 and above and I land on that site, what do I think? This is for me. This is where I belong. And I've used some strong language, talking about rocking your world, rocking your body. A lot of things implied there, right? So heavily connective. Monetization, which is usually what everybody wants to know right from the get-go. How much money can I make if I do this? And that is the wrong question to start out asking. It's the wrong question, because if you don't have your model and you don't have your market and you don't have your message, there's no way you can predict your money. It's impossible to do it. Everything else is guesswork. Monetization to me is all about the before and after shot, the improvement. How does your market become better because they did business with you? When they buy your product or buy your recommendation or coach with you, how do they become better? How can you specifically say, when you buy this that I recommend, or when you enter my course, or when you enter my coaching, when you exit, this is what you're going to look like. Boom. Have you ever watched those P90X commercials? They're off the chart. I bought all the DVDs and watched them. Didn't do anything for me. I mean, you got to get in there and do it, right? If there's going to be improvement, you got to get active. So if people buy your product and use it, what's their after shot? That's what you monetize. And you got to be vocal about it. After working with me, this is what your body will look like, your business will look like, your finances will look like, your eating habits will look like, whatever your market is, whatever your niche is, or niche, as we'd say here in Bama. You've got to know that after picture. It's got to be clear, and you've got to be able to represent that to your market each and every day. So monetization methods. Now, this is just a handful, but they're not for every level. You don't use these on every level, on every model. And I don't want you to choose any of them because I say these are good. You have got to choose the ones that resonate with you, that you can deliver the most value through and match the model. Affiliate marketing, ebooks, special reports, coaching, webinars, e-classes, teleseminars, licensing, paid newsletter, affiliate program, audio training, blogging, membership site, FTM membership, workshops, 4-week courses, mentorships, mastermind meetings, VIP days, which I love, but they're not for everybody, advertising, micro coaching, Amazon sites, podcast, AdSense, CPA, niche sites, Facebook, website development, group coaching, forum membership, apps, Kindle publishing, video training, service provider, Q&A calls, interviews. Just a handful of ways that you could monetize your model, your market, and your message. But you shouldn't do all those. Just choose one or two. Circle them, write them down, say, that's the one I want. That's what I want right there. That's the way I'm going to build my business. Don't go out there. Listen, here's the temptation. Which one of those are best? Which one of those is going to make me the most money? You want the answer to that? The one that you'll do, the one that you're connected to, the one you're passionate about, the one that's going to create the greatest value to your market. So I might say 4-week courses do that, but you hate 4-week courses. You think that you're going to deliver high value through a format that you hate? Really? I might say VIP days. You get to work with a client one day for 10 grand. But it turns out that you can't work with people good one-on-one and you don't do good processing on the spot. So even if I say that's profitable, should you do it? Nope, not if it doesn't match you. Now, ebooks, I don't like to write. So if somebody tells me, Paul, you need to make your fortune in ebooks, but I don't like writing, how silly is that for me to do that? It's insane. So the best way to monetize is the way that connects with you, that you can deliver the most value to your market. What if my market doesn't like workshops? What do you mean your market doesn't like workshops? They'll like anything that you recommend if they're part of the dedicated and they're dedicated to you. The format won't matter because you're bringing the best of you to the format. And that's how you monetize effectively. So your model, you got to choose the primary of the core four, whether you're going to be the teacher, the coach, the reporter, the hermit. Market, you got to write down who you'll improve. The message, what you'll improve in that person, that market. And monetization, how you'll improve that person. That's exactly how you build a long-term stable business. That's it. Those 4 steps. That's literally all there is to it. And so you have to anchor that. So the main reason so many struggle and fail is they want the model, the market, the message, the monetization to be given to them. They want prepackaged answers to questions that really, those answers, they can't be bought because we got to think and we got to process. You can't get those 4 M's in a box or in a guru product launch. Why? Because they have to be specific to you. Man, they got to be specific to you in order for it to really work. Now, I'm going to give you the replay, and then I'm going to show you how to work with me through these 4 steps if you want to do that. I'd love to have you do that. And my clients are experiencing huge success by working with me personally. They're, for the first time, getting rid of all the clutter. They're getting rid of all the overwhelm. They're taking steps in their business they've never taken before. They've gone out and for the first time been totally secure about the market. They've got a message that they can step in front of anyone, individual, crowd, their newsletter, it doesn't matter, and say, this is what I stand for. This is what I stand on. And people are like, yes, I connect with that. That's exactly what I need to be part of. And now they're monetizing all of that because they're either creating products or they're selecting affiliate products that match their message and their model and their market, and they're able to blow it away. So again, how long you've been trying? We saw a lot of numbers earlier, a lot of numbers. So the market, the model, the message, the monetization. So here are your choices. You can take the content and get to work. I mean, I think I've laid it out pretty clear, right? Or you can take these steps with me and we can do these steps together. Because it's always tough to make the right decisions alone. And I hear people say all the time, Paul, I've got nobody to help me. I will help you. I've coached hundreds of online business people successfully. As I mentioned before, I'm working with the Ziegler Corporation. And as I mentioned before, I've had companies pay me 6 figures just for advice. So I'm more than willing to help you. I love it. I'm a teacher and a coach. It's what I do. So this is one way that this could work, this working together. We could focus on week 1 on the model, week 2 the market, week 3 the message, and week 4 monetize. So this is going to be 4 weeks of coaching. But get this, most people get through the first 3 in the first week, and this is what we've been doing. Week 1 has been the model, week 1 has been the market, week 1 has been the message, and then weeks 2 through 4 is where we actually monetize it. It's when we really get on it, get after it. And we spend 3 weeks just talking about the money. So that's been highly successful. So here's Here's the package. Obviously not $5,000. I told you that's what I charge my offline people here locally. 4 weeks of personal mentoring coaching, step-by-step through the Millennium Method personally. This isn't group. This is one-on-one. Daily email interaction Monday through Thursday, and we work on your business. And then at the end of the 4 weeks, we get on the line for 60 minutes for a one-on-one call. And this is only for those of you who are here live. If you're watching the replay, I'm sorry, but the 60 minutes is off the table. So we're not bringing the 60 minutes on to you guys. Sorry about that. But I want to reward those who are here live to be able to really get in on this action if you decide to do that. So 4 weeks personal mentoring coaching, step-by-step through MM, daily email interaction, and working on your business. All right. Obviously, it's not 41K either. And here's the thing. At the end of this, you will have your own business. You have your own business. It's not even the guru price of $19.97. Nope. But I do want to give you a $19.97 bonus, and that is Nicheology. Nicheology's lifetime membership, you may not even know what it is. That's fine. I'm going to give you a quick overview. Lifetime membership in Nicheology is $19.97. And here's the reason we created Nicheology. Of the small businesses that fail, 90% do so because of lack of skills and knowledge on the part of the owner. Everyone can gain knowledge, learn the skills for a successful online business. So inside Nicheology, we've got live Q&A every month. We got the Profit Academy, where I bring personal business training every month. I've been in business for over 23 years, and I do this training personally. We've got these 6 courses available, List Building Academy. Each one of these would sell separately for $500 each. So that's $3,000 right there. List building, affiliate marketing, copywriting, niche, membership academy, traffic fuel academy. Online tutorials, got dozens of those. Video PLR that you can take and resell instantly if you want. All the previous months of that. Private label rights. We release another 6 to 8 of those every single month. But these go back 8 years. You get access to all of the archives. Traffic tracks show you step-by-step how to get traffic to your site. Core training, the Nicheology Profit System, content conversion, online business basics. All of these things, I even cover the core 4 in even more detail inside Nicheology. The Profit System with all those cool things right there, all of the online video training, the action enforcer that keeps you on track and rocking and rolling. You get access to everything for the past 8 years. This is just a bonus. This is just a bonus. And if you go to the site and try to check out, it's $19.97 to buy this. $1,997. So I'm going to take you through the core 4, the teacher, the coach, the reporter, the hermit, whichever one you decide on. I'll help you create your monetization plan that's perfect for you, perfect for your market. This is not out of the box, personalized. We can do it like this if you want, one a week, or we can focus on it and really whittle it down to monetization for those last 3 weeks if you want. So it's not $49.97. It's not $19.97. Combined, that'd be $69.94, but it's $9.97. So 4 weeks of personal mentoring to create your perfect online business, plus lifetime access to Nicheology is $9.97. And that's it. If you go to that page there, nicheology.com/MM, there's no big fancy sales page. There's nothing there putting the guilt rim on you. There's like 2 links. One link says $9.97, and I think there's a payment link on that page too for a payment plan. But that is it. All right, Paul Counts, I'm turning your mic back on, brother. Unmute. There we go. All right, guys, if you've got any questions about any of this, just hit me up. Hit me up. I see one question here from Mike. It says, how would you differentiate teaching from coaching? All right, teaching is where I set the curriculum. I'll look at the market. I might see a gap. I see an area of, this is not a good term, but I'm going to use it. I see an area of ignorance, and I say, I want to fill that gap. But coaching is driven by the client. So they're asking you questions, and they're getting your feedback specifically. Now, that could be a coaching call, or it could be individual and one-on-one. All right. So if you're ready to sign up, go to nicheology.com/MM. You've got any other questions, enter those now. Scrolling back through. We had a lot of good interaction today, Paul.
Good, good. Hey, can you make me an organizer real quick so I can see the questions coming
Yeah,
in?
let me see how to do that. Oh, here we
Okay.
go. Make
Yeah.
an
Just
organizer.
yep, there you go.
Did it. All right, let's see if that took. Yeah, all
All
right.
right, now I'm
You're
seeing
up.
questions.
Cool, brother.
Cool. All right.
It was really just that one from Mike that came in question-wise. If you got any questions, just type those in now. Any questions about the offer? Any questions about nichology? Any question about the Millennium Method? If I covered something too quick or you went, you know what, I didn't quite get that. But I think you guys see definitely that creating an online business is not simply about, hey, I follow blindly whatever's out there, but instead, I'm going to create this business based on my core strengths, my abilities. And listen, guys, again, no false humility here. We've all got gifts and
Yep.
abilities. We all have things that we can do. So rock it out and do the best that you can with it.
I thought this was an awesome training. It's a shame more people aren't going to be here, but hey, there's another shot. So hopefully more people today. I mean, this is powerful stuff. This is kind of the core founding that your business can be. It's a very unique approach that you don't see taught elsewhere. So I appreciate that
Man,
unique
appreciate that,
perspective
brother.
on it. Yeah,
Amen.
it's powerful stuff. This is good. Yeah, I see a lot of good interaction. This is awesome.
Yeah, I love, let's see. I saw something up here. One said, you're preaching to the choir. I like that.
Yep.
Other time they have to opt in 6 times, just making fun of a lot of the craziness that's out there. It's so
Yes.
crazy.
There is a lot of crazy stuff going on out there.
Man, no doubt about it. All
This
right.
is this was great. Yeah, this is really good.
And Paul, what I gave the replay page earlier, and it's
Okay,
actually a
cool.
previous webinar that I did. So I'm going to get this one
Awesome.
all converted, and I'll be
Okay.
putting this one up, and you can send that out to your folks as well. And certainly we'll
Okay,
be
good.
back live tonight as well with our
Yep,
second webinar. And
definitely.
guys, I really appreciate you coming out today. Paul will keep you informed, but catch it right now. Nichology.com/MM. I'll work with you personally for the next 4 weeks. We'll rock it, knock it out of the park. If you've struggled at all or felt like, you know what, I hadn't got it all together, this is the way that's going to really rock it and get you ahead.
Oh yeah, and Mike O'Neill just asked. He said, "Will this work if I'm starting fresh?" And that's
Absolutely,
the answer
Mike.
to
One
that.
of the
Yeah.
things I like about that is that you get to start fresh right out of
Yep.
the gate. Instead, you get to bypass the massive confusion and overwhelm. I mean, that's really critical. I think it's even better to not have a lot of that stuff cluttering your head, because what's going to happen is, there's so many things out there that draw our attention. You're going to be able to build it right out of the gate. And I'd caution you to not do what I did. I showed you early on, I
Yeah.
started right. I started correctly. I was actually being successful. And then I let all that stuff get in my head. So just stay true, stay the path, stay the course.
Yep. Yeah, that's great advice right there. Sometimes starting fresh is better. A
Man, no doubt. No
lot of
doubt.
distractions out there.
Yep, sure is. Well, all right, guys. Appreciate you guys coming out today. It looks like the end of it for the questions, but that line right there will be open. In fact, let's say through about 10 p.m. tonight, Paul.
Yeah.
Those who are here live, they'll get that extra 60-minute call, but
Okay.
I'll leave this up so they'll
Cool.
have that, and I'll remind people about that tonight as well.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. And I'm gonna definitely invite more people on tonight, so we'll have a good crowd tonight too. So.
Cool, brother. Sounds good. Will you guys be blessed today? Anything else, Mr. Paul?
Nope. Nope. Everything else looks good. Yeah. Mike says thank you. Many thanks from Mike. Lots of good comments here. So, nope. Yeah, you didn't miss anything. Killer training as usual. So appreciate you doing this.
All right, brother. Hey, guys, you be blessed. As always, success is not an accident. Take care.